Hey, I'm Mike Bankhead, and you are watching the If Ever You're Listening podcast.
Even though Mike Bankhead began making music a little later than he would have liked, it didn't stop him from dedicating a lot of time and effort into the art form for over 2 decades. From Dayton, Ohio, the songwriter and Recording Academy member has long been releasing albums for fans of rock music and many of its subgenres. In addition to music, Mike also runs the You Could Be My Amorous podcast, where he interviews musicians about their latest releases and the inspiration behind their songs. Mike also sees art as a necessary tool to reflect cultural events and history. A few years ago, he embarked on the multimedia project I Am Experienced, which reflects on Black artistry and the music industry. The project contains original songs, essays, poems, and guest pieces reflecting on the Black experience in the music industry and addressing a lot of the injustices that still exist. Mike is a firm believer of physical media and still gets a lot of his art pressed on CD. There's a terrific array of topics we discussed in today's podcast episode. Some of them include the following. What are the true benefits of being a Recording Academy member? What's it like being a Black music journalist, artist in today's age? How much time goes into making every album and song? Where do you pull inspiration from? This conversation will feel like a cool hang between two friends, and that's because it is. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my interview with Mike Bankhead. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the If Ever You're Listening podcast. I'm your host, Stanley C., and today we have an awesome guest, the one, the only Mike Bankhead. Mike, thank you so much for coming to this podcast. It's a pleasure talking to you. And even though we've had correspondence, we have not met, we have not spoken until this day. So it's
Yeah,
really cool.
what took us so long?
I don't know. We've tried. Yeah, it was scheduling, I think, for the longest time, but we're past that now. This is part one for the fans. We're gonna have a part two that is gonna be on Mike's podcast. But today, Mike, we're gonna talk a lot about Mike's career, and the plethora of experiences he has had in the music industry, how we connected, kind of our connection, as well as cool Recording Academy questions I have for him. So. But to start, I love asking the same question, kind of to ground us in your music reality is what was your relationship like with music growing up?
It was constant in my home. My parents had a turntable. I'm Generation X, born near the tail end of Generation X, and my parents had vinyl. And then when cassettes became a thing, they had those. And then when CDs became a thing, they had those, right? The media grew. But I remember always having a turntable in the house, always having music in the house, having music on the radio if we would ever go somewhere in the car. Both of my parents dug Michael Jackson. I think my mom a little more than my dad. So I grew up with a lot of Michael Jackson music. Dad liked 70s rock and there was some of that in the house. I When my father died and I inherited his record collection, I discovered a lot more albums in there that I remember ever hearing. So there was some stuff he never played for us, at least never played when I was around in the house, but it was always around. That's probably the best way I could describe it.
No, that's good. And when did, because you make music as well. So
I do.
when did music become something that you went from listening to making, and what was that transition like for you?
Well, like most songwriters, I'm a anxious, depressed type, and poetry used to be an outlet for that before I learned how to play.
Mm-hmm.
But as a teenager, I was surrounded by musicians. In the public high school I went to, I spent a lot of time hanging out with the band kids, even though I did not play an instrument, and just fascinated by how music worked, how composition worked, the work that my fellow students at their ages were putting into learning things like clarinet and drums and trumpet and trombone and saxophone and what have you. And then as I kept getting older, I had friends that were in rock bands and I would hang out with them, and I just kind of didn't want to always be the person that practiced not doing anything. And at some point I decided, you know what, I need to buy an instrument and actually learn how to make music. Part of that was playing the songs that I like to hear from the radio, my favorite bands, but part of that is it's a writing songs is a way of self-expression, and it's a good way to deal with looking around at the dumpster fire of the universe. It's a good way to deal with things that are going on. So yeah, I was 20 or 21 when I bought my first instrument. So I got into it late. I there's a part of me that really wishes my parents had made me take lessons of any kind,
Yeah.
regardless of the instrument, because getting that understanding of music theory and how music works is applicable across all instruments and across all genres. And if I had studied any instrument when I was a child, I'd be a better musician today.
Mm.
But that didn't happen, and I got to work on it hard on my own. But I have a lot of admiration for people that learn an instrument as a child, even if they didn't like it. And I think most of them, if they keep making music, they'll tell you that it was helpful.
Oh yeah. It's like I feel that sometimes when I meet people who are learning English for the first time, it's like, oh, even though it seems so obvious because we speak English, but when you talk to somebody who's learning English, you realize how difficult it is, and how you're so lucky to have just been born knowing
Yes.
it. By the time you got conscious, you know the language very well. And it's the same thing with instruments. I have the same jealousy of instrumentalists. I'm like, oh my God. It's like second nature to them, even if they don't like it. Okay, very, very cool. So take me to, do you remember the first song you wrote or your first performance as an artist?
The first song I wrote, I do not, because I used to write little songs when I was in elementary school,
Hmm.
and none of them were keepable. I can remember the first song. I'll tell this story. The oldest song that I wrote that I actually kept was I wrote and I'm not gonna tell the story right because I'm old and I don't remember. At some point later, I'll email you with the blog post I wrote about it. But
Yeah.
when I was working on my first album, I found a tattered piece of computer paper in with my stuff, with lyrics and some chords on it.
Mm.
And it was a song that I had written, I don't know, when I was in my teens or late teens or something, or early 20s. But it was an old song that I had written, and I found this when I was cleaning, and like the melody came back to me, and then I looking at it, I said, you know what? This is decent enough that it should go on the record, and that ended up going on my first record, and it is called "Every Last Time Is Like the First."
Mm.
Um, it's about the Mona Lisa, so there's no way I would have written that before I saw it for the first time. And I went to Paris the first time when I was 21, so it was probably the year I turned 21 or the year I turned 22. But I didn't start working on that first record till 2015. So the song was, 15 years old, 16 years old by the time it
Wow.
got recorded.
Wow. That's funny. I was 21, I think, the first time I went to Paris as well. I only know because I turned 21 when I studied abroad in Europe, and
Oh, nice.
Paris was part of that experience. So,
It's my favorite city. Where
yeah,
does it? You've been to a lot of places. Where does that rank for you?
I it changes, honestly. It depends on what I want from a place or a city. I think for me, I lived in China for so long, so it's like China means a lot to me. Shenyang, specifically where I lived. England meant a lot because it was my first time leaving the United States. And I was a late plane bloomer. My parents, we didn't fly or go anywhere much when I was growing up. So my first time on a plane was going to study abroad in England. So, and I was already 20 by then.
Hmm.
And it turned 21 when I was there. So it's probably like Midlands, England, where I went to school, Northeast China, and I went to grad school in Texas. So it's probably Texas, as odd as that may sound. But those are like very formative places that have a lot of sentimental value for me.
And you live in one of the world's great cities,
Yeah.
so that's got to tilt the scale a little bit.
Yeah, it's like I feel spoiled to be in New York all the time in the city and all that comes with that. It's crazy. Okay, very cool. You talked a bit in some of, I believe it was like some of your content about depression in music. I do want to touch on this subject because I think it's important and it's relevant for a lot of people who make music as well as who seek help through music. But from your perspective, how has music helped you with kind of social challenges, anxiety, depression, things that have affected you in your life? Whether that's listening to songs or making music as an outlet for that.
Uh, from the listening angle, before I was able to make music, and I think this is a universal experience for one's formative years, by which I mean that time between when you're 13 and 16,
Hmm.
when the music that you've discovered means more to you than anything else. Like this, it's weird how the music we discover that time, we carry that with us the rest of our life. Even if maybe from a technical standpoint, some of it's not good, or maybe we've grown out of some of it, there's just certain emotions that come back because of who you were when you listen to that music. And just the common experience of feeling alienated and having the FOMO and just those awkward teenage years. And then you listen to songs and you feel like the person who's writing about these feelings you have gets it, whether they do or not. This is what you feel like when you're a teenager. And music has done that for me my entire life. There's always been something I could listen to that either made me feel better or made me feel that someone was commiserating with me.
Hmm.
And I think those things are equally useful. From writing, I've had I know I'm supposed to go to therapy. I've not had good experiences with therapy so far, and I will try it again. But I feel like part of therapy is the idea of expressing oneself and getting your thoughts out. And that's what songwriting is. You have to be like if you want your songs to resonate with people, you can't be afraid to talk about things that are real. You can't be afraid to be open. And sometimes that's difficult. It's difficult for me. There is one song in my catalog that I'm never going to play again because of how vulnerable it is. But even if you don't show the song to someone else, the act of writing the song and doing the work is helpful to me personally, and I've heard that from other musicians as well. The creative outlet of making art is a soothing, cathartic thing for humans.
It is, it's almost like your own talk therapy back to yourself.
Yeah,
I noticed for a lot of people. And even I don't know if I've told any of my subscribers this, but I do make music. I just don't release it for people. Like it's
which is fine.
just for me.
Which
Um,
honestly, even those of us who do release it, if you're not doing it for you first,
yeah,
that I mean, I know there are people that write for a living and maybe they don't have a deep connection to what they're writing, but personally speaking, if I don't believe in my own art, I am definitely not showing you, you know?
exactly.
Um, yeah, I write for me first, and then if I think it's good enough, I will probably try to share it.
Well, you've made a lot of great albums, a lot of great music. To close out on our specific to use music questions, and then we're going to dive into other parts of your music experiences. If somebody was getting into your music for the first time, like the Mike Bankhead discography, kind of where would you recommend they start? Should they start with the first project and move up, or is there a different center place they should go to, maybe thematically, before they go into other projects of yours?
That's a fantastic question. When I discover a band,
Hmm.
I'm gonna approach this for how I would tell you about a band I love.
Hmm.
If you discovered a band that I've loved their entire career, I would tell you to listen to their first record and go in order. If it's a band that I am well versed in or an artist I'm well versed in and that I had come at them their entire career. There are other artists who maybe I didn't discover them until their third or fourth album, but I'm the kind of guy that at some point always goes back and starts at the beginning and listens in order. So my first inclination is to tell you that you should go listen to my first album first, but that's probably, unless you're a severe music nerd, not the best course of action. And that's just because I'm a better musician and a better writer than I was when I made that first record. I
Mm.
listened back to it and now I hear a lot of things that I just could have done better
Yep.
and things that I didn't execute very well. I didn't know what I was doing in the studio. I didn't know about the approach of building a project from a project management standpoint. That said, given the knowledge and the lack of talent I had, I'm proud of it because I think it's good work for what it is. But I would say if you want to hear me at my best, the second record, Anxious Inventions and Fictions, is where you should start.
Hell yeah.
That is, and I do a lot of genres because I'm weird like that. But that's my bread and butter rock and roll record. If I was 17, I would have, this is the kind of record 17-year-old me would have wanted to buy.
Mm.
It's reminiscent of 90s rock. It I sequenced it in a way that kind of mimics the way that vinyl would feel because when I was making it, I really wanted to press vinyl, so I sequenced it that way. I ended up not being able to afford to press vinyl, but if you listen to it on streaming, you listen to the first five songs and then pause it and get up and walk around your room for a minute, and that simulates the flipping. And then you listen to the last five songs, and you've given yourself the final experience that I was not able to afford to bring you. In fact, if I ever come into a large sum of money that I can put into music, I'm putting that record on vinyl just because I want it. I want it on vinyl so much. But I'm proud of that album. I'm proud of all my work, but I'm proud of that one in a different way than the first one. I had learned enough about how to work in the studio. I had a pre-production session for that album. I planned it better, and I made the kind of music I wanted to make. I collaborated with some people I really wanted to work with from my community, and I actually still listen to that one, not from a critique standpoint, but from a I think it's good music. And man, it feels really kind of, it almost feels like I can't find the word, which is bad because I'm a songwriter and we're supposed to find words. I don't want to feel, it feels like I'm bragging, but I'm not. Like if I, this is the kind of record that I would want to hear.
Mm,
I think it's good. I think it's a really good rock record, and I will stand by that. And that is why, if you're new to me, that's the one, generally speaking. There are some, however, however, if you like country music or Americana, you might not like that record.
no.
But but if you're new to me and you want to know what I do when I am at my best, that's the one.
Hell yeah. I I was listening to a lot of your music over the past week. And I have my some of my favorite Mike Bankhead songs to just to share with the listener.
Well, that's
Um,
going to make me happy. I like when people tell me that they like my stuff.
yeah, no, there's some gems on here. Um, Chameleon Skin, big fan of Chameleon Skin. Um,
That's because you it probably speaks to you. I wrote that for
it-
you, for
yeah,
us,
it
right?
feels good. It feels good. That's talk to me about that song actually.
That song took a while.
Yeah.
I'm sure you listen to a lot more music than me. It's impressive how much you listen to. I discover stuff I've never even seen from your blog and your interviews. So of course you're familiar with Jason Isbell, who
Hmm.
is one of
Oh,
I
yeah.
think he's one of our greatest living songwriters.
Yes.
And a few records ago, he wrote a song called White Man's World,
Yep.
which is a fantastic song. And Chameleon Skin, I mean that song touched me. I'm never gonna cover it because it would sound stupid coming like you can't cover that when you're black. Uh, but it's a great song, and it carries a very true message, right? He is speaking the truth.
Mm,
That made me feel a certain way. The certain way was, you know what, you're right, but I acknowledge you, sir, for seeing this, but you don't know what it feels like,
no.
right? Now, Chameleon Skin was my attempt to say, this is what it feels like. Like
Mm,
what you described, this is how I feel. It took me forever to get that song finished. I started writing it shortly after I heard White Man's World for the first time,
mm,
and it got revised and revised and rewritten and rewritten, and it took forever for it to come together. And I'm pretty proud of what I ended up with. It's an Americana song because I wanted to respond to him and his genre. Not
mm,
like he'll ever hear it, probably. I name dropped him in the first line
mm.
because I mean, I'm being honest. This is my, if we were sitting at a bar, and he wouldn't sit at a bar because he's sober. If we were sitting at a snack bar
Yeah.
over snacks and milk, and he had told me, and the conversation was he's telling me what he says in White Man's World, my response would be what I say in Chameleon Skin. And thankfully, I found an engineer and a producer, also a black gentleman who got it, and all the musicians on it. Like we get it in a way that other people who've not had those experiences don't,
Yeah.
and that is the purpose of that song. Um, Obviously, I want whoever to listen to it and like it. But if you look like us,
Mhm.
you're gonna see yourself in that song, and you're gonna feel, and you've probably experienced the things that I'm talking about, and that is the communal nature of sharing mutual feelings, right? That's where songwriting to me is at its most rewarding. So I am like thrilled that you love that song and kind of bummed that it has to be a necessary song to write. But
Yeah, yeah, but I'm also glad that, people like you make the music and put it out for the rest of us to connect to and to feel seen and feel heard. Because it could feel isolating after a while, especially if you're a black music creator in the space. There's just not that many of us percentage wise. And then two, sometimes we don't find each other, even if we're
correct.
in the same industry, because like I talk about super random music, and a lot of times other people like us aren't interested in that, or they're just like, talk to me more about Kendrick. Don't talk to me about German techno music. I don't care about that, but I care about that. And so that could be the challenge and the stigma from different communities, but sometimes your own community.
I get it. Like when I was growing up, there were a lot of those, why are you listening to that white music when I
Yeah,
listen to rock and roll, right? First of all, that's our music. Black
yeah,
people invented rock and roll,
exactly.
you know?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, we could go on a whole tangent about the foundings of rock and roll, and I've written extensively about it, and but a lot of the times people just don't know. And they're kind of stuck in their own worldview on like what music means, what it started as, and it's sometimes hard to unpack that for people.
It is. That's not to disparage Kendrick because he's a genius,
No,
but
yeah, he's great. He's great. And I love hip hop. I write a lot about hip hop. If people read it,
you do.
they get my perspective. It's a
Your
little different,
your
but it's
series on the best MCs, I'm sure, is probably caused some controversy.
I got a lot of emails. I got a
You
lot
you
and
know
they weren't
what? That means you did good writing because
yeah.
like if you're making people respond to it, even if they're mad at you,
Yeah. Some were happy. Some were like, yeah, me too. But there were some people that were like, how dare you rank him at that number? And
yeah,
people can guess what I'm referring to. But I love hip hop so much, and it was a very important genre for me growing up. Especially when I got into high school, is really there. I tell the story before, but I didn't know that much hip hop in like middle school because my parents grew up showing me like soul and R&B and jazz, and then my friend's like, you don't know any hip hop, and I was like, I know hip hop, and I named like Nelly and like a couple of the pop rap guys, and he's like, no, you need to know like Scarface, Run DMC, LL Cool J, and we're the same age. But he was like, meet me at your locker tomorrow morning. And he came to my locker and he had like 10 CDs of
oh
just hip
nice.
hop classics. Radio by LL Cool J, Life After Death, All Eyes on Me, a lot of 80s stuff, early 90s stuff, a lot of Outkast, a lot of Tribe Called Quest. He's just like, we'll talk about it tomorrow. I spent all day, all night listening to it. Then the next morning, another bag showed up. He had more music,
Oh,
more up to date, like early Kanye, early Eminem, early Jay-Z, all like the Reasonable Doubt volumes, albums. And then he's like, all right, well, and then we just would talk. And he's like still one of my best friends to this day. Shout out Taylor. And that gave me a deep appreciation for like the art of hip hop. And then over time it became, okay, what hip hop do I love and what hip hop means to me? And then trying to fuse like music history with kind of personal taste. And I feel like a lot of people just dive into like what they think is the proper taste rather than what you think is good. And you need to know the history. But that's kind of how I went into hip hop. And the more I share, I hope people that's sometimes just how I pull people in, and then I share the rest of what I like, and they're like, "Oh wait, I like Jason Isbell too, or I like um, Claro too, or I like name a random artist, Victoria Vark as well, who's sick." And so that's that's where I want my listeners and my readers to go to. But
we all need a friend in our life, like your
yeah,
friend Taylor, who will be like, "You don't know this? Let me bring you 10 records."
no,
Like I've had people in my life like that. We all need people like that.
we all need
And
people like that.
and for me, that's what your blog is about. I am forever fine. In fact, rarely do you ever write about something I actually know what it is,
Mm-hmm. That's that's
which I
that's
like it. I like it
That's
that
my
way.
job. That's why I called it If Ever You're Listening, because I'm trying to get you to listen to it. And it's almost like an ironic title because you probably aren't listening to it already, but I want you to start listening to it. And shout out Sampha, another interview I really want to get one day. I got influ that the blog title is from him. It's a song called Timmy's Prayer, which is about his brother. And one of the first line of the song is, "If ever you're listening, if heaven's a prison, then I'm your prisoner." It's like this beautiful love song as well. but that line really meant a lot to me. But speaking of Black art and Black creators and community in the music industry, you made a really special project a few years ago that I want to talk about. It's called I Am Experienced. It's kind of this multimedia project. It has sonnets, it has videos, it has songs, it has essays. And the through line is that it's from Black art makers. And I use that phrase like that because they're not just musicians,
They are
they're
not.
also writers, they're engineers. I really appreciate kind of all the intention that went into this. Kind of talk to me about what inspired you to do such a huge project like this, and how has it been received from your end? How has people responded to it?
So one of the old school things they tell songwriters is to write what you know, right?
Mm.
Write from your personal experience. And so I write all the time, as most of us do. And I noticed that there were a few songs that were touching on what it felt like to be Black. And I thought to myself, well, instead of staggering these across my next few releases, let me just put them all in the same project. So that was the idea. I noticed, oh, I have a couple of songs that are going this direction. And then I intentionally decided to put them on the same project. And when that decision was made, it was a logical next step to say, all right, I'm going to commit to being really open and really vulnerable here. All of the songs are going to be from my first person point of view, which is not something that we songwriters do all the time. Sometimes you have to write from different perspectives as part of the job, right? But all of these songs, I'm the person talking. This is my voice on everything on the record. This is how I feel. I was very careful not to tell anyone what to do. Like on, for instance, on Plantation, I don't say white people stop getting married at plantations because you can't tell people what to do. What you can do is talk about a thing and then say, this is how that thing makes me feel, and then let people sit with that. So once I decided that it was going to be so vulnerable and open, it was logical that everyone that I needed to gather to help me make this project, I wanted them to be Black people because they would feel the same way. It's different, and we touched on this earlier. It's different when a person can empathize with you because they hear a sad story than if you hear the sad story and you say, "Well, that happened to my cousin, or that happened to my uncle, or that happened to me, or that could have been me." So, Stanley, you and I see ourselves in these situations in a different way than someone who is not a person of color. And that's just because we internalize things that we have either experienced ourselves or we know someone who has. And so I wanted on this project, everyone on the project to be someone that understood the meaning to that deeper level. And that meant all Black personnel, which meant I had to get out of my comfort zone and expand my network and reach out and try to meet people and make connections. But everyone on the project understood it. Everyone was super talented. It took 2 years from starting it to when it was released, and only 10 months of that was the recording process. There's a lot that goes into making music beyond the fun stuff. Like recording is fun.
Yeah.
The admin and the other stuff is not necessarily fun. Uh, but that was a thought process. I wanted everyone on it to really understand and see themselves in the music. As far as how it was received, it was really a challenge to promote.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is the reason it's just the way that music is promoted in the business.
Yeah.
I wanted to reach out to specifically, I was going to hire a PR company, all right, which is not cheap, but I thought it deserved professional assistance. And obviously, I wanted Black owned PR company and Black PR agents. And the company that I really wanted to work with, they told me, well, we don't really know how to promote this, which I thought was weird coming from another Black person. But they
Hmm.
were like, well, we can't say it's a rock record because you've got one rock song on it. And we can't say it's a gospel record because you've got one gospel song on it.
Hmm.
So like the way music is promoted is by genre of the music, and that is not the through line of this project, right? The what ties it together is the lyrical content and the messaging and the fact that all of the genres, like each song is a different genre,
Yeah.
but they all come from Black music if you go back far enough. Like
Yeah.
that's the point. But for a professional PR company, they couldn't find a catchy way to say that. So I ended up having to do all the promotion on my own. And that means that it really hasn't gotten into as many ears as I would like it to get into, which is sad because I've worked on this really hard for a really long time and I put a lot of myself into it, especially the hard copies. As an old school guy who likes to hold his music and remembers being a teenager reading liner notes and lyrics, I wanted people to have that experience. So I've got a thick booklet in there with liner notes and lyrics, and there's an essay for every single song. And then I decided, well, if you're going to ask someone to spend their hard-earned money on you, because CDs cost money, you should give them something extra. So I built a secret website with hours of bonus content and things to contextualize the project and extra stuff that you can't get anywhere else. And the way to get to that content is there is a QR code in the lyric book, in the CD, and a little password under the QR code. And for the people that have discovered that, they've really enjoyed it. I would like more people to discover it, which is one reason I wanted to talk to you.
Mm.
Uh, because even though this came out in 2023, I mean, Stanley, you've read the lyrics. It's still current,
Oh,
right? The
you could,
things I'm talking about are evergreen, and it's really a crying shame that it's evergreen. And if you haven't heard it, and I believe this about all music, if you haven't heard it yet, it is new to you.
yes.
So I would like, and this was the big challenge, demographically, most of my listener base are white folks, which I do not have a problem with.
Hmm.
I don't want it to sound like I'm being militantly African American here. I'm not Louis Farrakhan or anything.
Marcus
I,
Garvey.
yeah, I'm not Marcus Garvey. Like I want everyone to enjoy my music. It's just this specific project will speak to you on a deeper, more personal level if you are black. And my current listener base, most of them not being black, maybe this didn't touch them as much.
Hmm.
So I would like to get this into more black folk ears.
Hmm.
Maybe they like the music, maybe they don't like the music, but the message in it, they should relate to it. And really, those of us who are songwriters, we know that not everyone's going to like our stuff. We just want people to hear it. If you like it, excellent. We want new fans. If you don't like it, thank you for listening and enjoy finding what you do love, right?
Hmm. Yeah, no, I just want to echo what Mike's saying and to let the listener know I have experienced the project, and I use that word on purpose because it is like an experience, the full project, both the version that you get, the original version, but also the additional content. So I would recommend buying it and getting the additional content because there's more context to it, and it allows you to understand more of the thought process that went behind it, some of the additional people that contributed to this project. It's something really special, and you could have made this in 2026. Like it felt like 2026 when I was reading it. It didn't feel like 3 years old at all. Um, but I think that's because a lot of the stuff you're talking about is just like historical things that have happened. It's trends. It's not necessarily in 2023 events. And with that, there's a stronger message there that people should connect to. And please, 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 if you don't think it'll resonate with you, if you're listening, maybe share it with someone else that you think will. So I'll share that project with you guys and let you know where you can buy it and where you can put that in the description below. But thank you. I want to thank Mike for making that project because it is important to artists. A lot of what we do is super free.
Yeah,
So it takes so many hours to do what we do, and
it
then
does.
it's so free for you guys to consume. Um, the small things that we do ask for, we do occasionally will ask for you to pay for things. Um, Trust me, it's a very, very small percentage of everything that we do. So think of it as almost an investment in Mike and everything that he's done, both for music and also for you as a content receiver. So that's what I want to
And
say about that.
and you can totally listen to it for free.
Yeah.
It's on all of the streaming services. A version of it is.
Yeah.
Uh, so if you listen to it on streaming, there are 6 songs.
Yep.
On the actual CD, there are 2 additional songs, and there is music in between each song. So there's an extra like 10, 12 minutes of music on the CD that's not on streaming. But you'll get 6 different genres worth of songs if you listen to it on streaming. Every single song has a music video, even the secret ones. You don't get to see this. secret ones unless you buy this. Well, you get to see one of them because I submitted it for Grammy consideration. But the music videos are a wonderful accompaniment to the songs. And shout out to fellow New Yorker, not one of your people, Stanley, Paul Notice.
Hmm.
Paul
Yeah.
Notice is a director, and which is making film is an art form. It's just one that I don't know how to do. But they were very visionary in the way they approach putting the feelings from these songs into music videos.
Mm.
Paul Note is true professional, and they did fantastic work on the music videos. So you could watch those on YouTube, and that is not going to cost you anything either.
Love that. Shout out Paul. Yeah, Paul's special. Great writer too. Really, really good. For more stuff that you do for free that deserves to be compensated, you have a podcast.
I do.
The You Can Be My Aramis podcast. Talk to me about the making of this. What motivated you to start a podcast? Because it's not easy to do it. It's easy to consume, but hard to continue. You've had
You would
many
know.
episodes. I'm inspired by your length of episodes, and I'm only at like 40, maybe 50 interviews now. You have 100 plus interviews.
Yeah,
Um,
I. How many is it? I hang on, let me check. I have a. I can't remember. I have a spreadsheet that. How do you organize yours? While I'm looking, how is that? Do you have a spreadsheet for that kind of thing?
I honestly what helped me was when I started posting it on YouTube. I used to just have it on my Substack, but YouTube helped me kind of I'm able to see it a little clearer. That's how I know it's like 40 something. I'm like at
Uh,
240.
I I have 127 episodes.
That's a lot.
And something that we were talking about before we hit the record button, I
Yeah.
have three more episodes that are done,
Yep.
but that I haven't edited because this is going to motivate me to get that work done.
Yeah.
And shame on me because two of those episodes that are done are musicians in my network who are really talented and interesting,
Mhm.
and I want people to know about them, and I haven't put these episodes up. So I'm sorry, but I will get them up. And really, I started this podcast when I was about to finish Anxious Inventions and Fictions.
Mhm.
I read something, and I'm one of those people that when I get advice, I generally follow it if I think it makes sense. And I read something that said, hey, starting a podcast or having a podcast is a great way to promote your record. You could have the people that played on the record on it. You could talk about the songs. So it started out being for that reason, but it quickly became, let me just talk to people because it's fun.
Wow.
So I don't do a lot of, I mean, every now and then, like I'll talk about my music, but most of these episodes are not about me at all. I don't do nearly as much self-promotion as I probably should on my own podcast. So yeah, it started out for completely selfish reasons, and it was really quick when I was just like, let me just talk to people that are cool, like people that are interesting and have interesting things to say. And just because I am comfortable talking about music and to musicians, most of my guests are musicians, but that is by no means like I'll talk to anyone if you are interesting and you believe, like if you have strong conviction of what you're into, even if like you could go deep on anything. And
Mm.
people that are really into something can often make it appealing even if you have no knowledge of what they're talking about. So I would like to get more. I've only had, I think, one comedian on. I would like to get more comedians because I think that they are more messed up, the songwriters, mental health speaking. But,
That'd be
uh,
awesome.
but I've only had one comedian. I think I've only had one author,
Hmm.
and I would like to get more book writers. So I think that's fantastic too. And I've had a couple of journalists. When we do ours, you'll add to the list of journalists that I will have had on. But we might not even talk about music journalism. You got so much other cool stuff going on, and your life experiences. Like you're not even 30 yet, are you?
I'm 31. Yeah,
Like, but the amount of life experience you have at your age is just really
it's a
it's
lot.
truly impressive. So,
A lot. Yeah. Yeah, we can make it just about life. Just like all life stuff. Um,
like, I feel like we could probably just talk an hour on. Let's talk about delicious things we've eaten in places that are not the United States.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Go.
Like we need a couple hours for that. That would be sick. I was just in Mexico,
What part of Mexico are you in?
Mexico City.
Oh, I love the DF. Well, I mean, they don't call it that anymore, but I love Mexico City. It
CDMX now.
CDMX. It's
Yeah,
New. I tell people it's New York City, but in
it
Spanish.
is. it's exactly it's New York City with more museums and better food. It's that's really what it is. And pyramids.
And
It's
a
so cool.
much cheaper subway.
So much cheaper. Yeah, yeah. And cleaner Subway. They have these cool little see, I'm already getting distracted. But that's the type of stuff. I like I write a lot about travel now because I'm like, start sharing your travel story. So I try to
Dude, you have to.
yeah,
Some people are going to be like, people that haven't gotten the chance to travel might feel
yeah,
bad or feel like you're showing off.
yeah,
But I haven't been nearly as many places as you, but I want to hear about these places and I want to learn
yeah.
about interesting things. And so, yeah, I might get a little jealous that you got a chance to live in China for a few years, but I'll get over it real quick. I just want to hear, like, yeah, I'm into
And
it.
and now you'll know more than the regular person because you've read that experience. And it's like that. It's really also it's for everybody. It's like communal. Like I'm trying to build like a community of just curious learners on people that want to learn so much more. Because I feel like we're always siloed out into different pockets.
Yes.
And
See,
that
like songwriting is just, look, it's the same for musicians,
the
right? It's music and sharing these things is communal. And
mm,
really that's what drives it's kind of like the common ground behind all of the stuff that we do and the stuff that the people who we talk to do is that wanting to share things with other people.
yes, that's why I appreciate your music because you do so many genres. Like I knew you did like two or three, but I was like, no, he does like five or six or seven. Every time I would listen to another song or another project, there'd be a new genre. So how do you? Because that's not easy for an artist to then jump into another genre. It's a different tempo, it's a different rhythm.
No,
You
not
write
easy.
differently. How do you jump into different genres, and how difficult is that for you?
It's really difficult because not all of them are things that I listen to regularly or that I'm very good at.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think the main thing is serve the song. And
Mm,
generally speaking, like I write with a piano or usually on piano these days. I used to write only on bass, but usually these days on piano. But
mhm.
if you play a song on an acoustic guitar or a piano, it's really going to be genre free until you decide to add other stuff to it, depending on your vocal approach, right? But if the song is good, it should hold up in whatever genre. But depending on your lyrics, it might lend itself more to one or the other. So I don't always decide that until I've written like the sketch of the song on piano, and then I let the song take me where it wants to go. Except for like Wapa Kaneda, I knew I wanted to make that an Americana song from the get-go, and Chameleon Skin, obviously, because of the response to Mr. Isbell, I knew I wanted that to be Americana from the get-go. But and I'll share this with you, like this is going to be because we're friends, Stanley. I'm going to share some stuff that's not released, but I got a song that's not released that I feel like it could be in four or five other genres. I can't afford to produce it in four or five other genres, but like
Mm,
I feel like it lends itself to different ways of expression. And since I do have someday, I would love to be in the part of the business that writes songs for other people.
mhm.
I think you need to be able to write versatile songs if you're going to be in that part of the industry, right? Yeah, sometimes it is definitely hard, and I know that I don't do it right. I'm working on a neo soul record, for instance,
Love
because
that.
I love the stuff. Like I love it. I've never made a neo soul record. I don't know how.
Mm,
So while when I write the songs and I write the vocal or the lyrics, I think about the melody and I try to sing them with that vocal approach. I don't have that skill set. So I know for a fact when I do this album, I'm gonna have not me singing it, which is
mm,
fine. But when it comes time to go to the studio, I'm gonna need to find an engineer and a producing team that are well versed in that genre,
mm.
who I will be able to play the song for them in this bare bones stripped down form and have them tell me here are the things that you need to do differently in order to make it communicate across this genre, or just let them handle the arrangement.
Yep.
And I have, again, this is an album I really want to make. I've wanted to make it for 4 or 5 years now, but it costs money to make records, and I don't have enough to make that record right now. But it's on the like, and it's not. I'm not done writing it. I'm only about halfway through the writing it.
Cool.
But like, if I got a grant, I would hurry up and finish the writing.
Oh yeah.
But someday you're going to get a neo soul record out of me, Stanley, and
Well,
I can tell you that I will not be singing on it, but I think it will be a good listen.
hell yeah. Hell, so you're gonna commission. artist to sing on it.
Yeah, so I'll just go ahead and tell you the whole
Yeah.
concept. Because putting it out there will commit me to getting it done someday, right? Like it's on
Yes.
record. This is what I want to do.
Hmm.
I am writing the song from the standpoint of a woman, so it's a woman's voice, and I'm gonna have four women vocalists, and the record's gonna be called Four Queens, and it'll be I'll assign a couple of songs to each of the singers. And as I'm finishing the songs, I'm going to approach the vocalist with the song. And if they say I don't like that song, it'll go over here and I'll write them another one. So when I get to the point where I have it closer to the writing being completed, I will start. I already know three of the four vocalists I would like to participate on the project, but there's going to have to be some sitting down and talking about the songs. And if the vocalists want to make song changes, that's something we can talk about because that adds some legality stuff. But
Yeah.
we will cross that bridge when we come to it. But that's the idea is it'll be my album, but you will not hear my voice on it unless maybe in some harmony vocals. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, I've already got like ideas on what I want the artwork to look like. But that's it's getting because it's getting so far ahead of myself because I haven't even started it in the studio.
You're
But I
entering your Quincy Jones era of
If
like,
only I ain't that good. But like, I was a lot younger when Miseducation of Lauryn Hill came
yeah.
out and that's I mean I mean nobody's gonna make that record, but I'd like to make that record.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I This is another fun background story for me. And maybe the listeners know this. I mean, I may have written it in a random article years ago, but I went to the same high school as Lauren Hill.
Well, that's
Um,
cool.
so she went to Maplewood. I grew up in Maplewood, New Jersey. SZA also went to this high school. This is not a music school. We just are public school kids, but um, I remember one day I had her book, like her name was in the book for in the class in this English class, and I told the teacher I was like, I have Longo's book, and I shouldn't have because he took it and like gave it to the archives of the school.
Oh wow. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I should have
So
just kept it.
how old what is the age that you think people won't understand what you meant by that?
Um,
Because like I'm an old guy and I remember, right? When you
yeah,
but there
I
they
think
use
if you're
computers in school now, right?
they use computers in school. Yeah, it's hard to get a book with names on the back. They're gonna go like, why is their name? Maybe like 21 and younger wouldn't get it.
All right.
Maybe. Yeah, I think if you're under 21, their school systems were have changed dramatically in terms of access to access to computers, laptops. Now they have laptops for elementary school kids. Like I didn't get my first cell phone until I started middle school, which is still pretty young, but I remember not having a laptop and not having, I remember there not being an iPhone. I remember there not being computers. I didn't really use computers when I was like under 10. And even like social media really started when I was 14, 15. And I remember getting MySpace and Facebook. That was like the first time I saw like I'm able to connect to people in my, but for back then it was just your school. So it was like
Yep.
really just your classmates outside of class. There wasn't Joe Schmo from England or Joe Schmo from Florida. I didn't see that until I got to like college, early 20s, mid 20s. Then social media got a little way, not a little, very crazy, very fast. But yeah, the books thing, I miss seeing that on library books and you're putting the date you have to return the book.
Yep.
All like I saw when she returned the book, it was like so cool to see that. But yeah, it's a lost art. It's a lost art. But that's a beautiful. Okay, so Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is a inspiration for this project. So thematically, sonically, we may get neo soul in that respect. Because neo soul could be like D'Angelo, it could be Maxwell, it
It
could
could
be
be
um,
women vocalists though. So
but
and I
women,
don't
yeah.
think it is not going to be sultry because
Okay,
I don't think I can do that as a
yeah,
writer, especially not when I'm trying to write from a woman's point of view. So,
yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, one of the first song I wrote for it
Hmm.
is it's like a woman's empowerment song.
Nice.
It's a woman talking to her younger self,
Mm.
saying thank you for going through these hard things because now I'm the person that I am today, which
Mm.
could be gender neutral,
Yeah.
right? There are some experiences that are universal. I just want a woman to sing it. That's all.
Love that.
So, I mean, I'm not a woman, so it does take a little imagination for me to write from that point of view. But I mean, trying to keep it as universal as possible would
Hmm.
probably be, yeah.
No, I'm excited. I'm excited for this to come out. Yeah, when
I
you get
mean, I have no idea when it's coming, but it's like if you know someone that just has an
a limited one.
irresponsible amount of money laying around that wants to fund an art project,
Uh-huh.
because really, it is really a shame that this is how it works in the music business.
I know.
But
Well,
like,
we could talk about it. We could. Because my next question is about the Recording Academy, so we're going to talk about the industry.
um, I'm like you. I have another gig. I have a non-music gig because my music gig doesn't pay me enough money for me to make a living. In
Yeah.
fact, I'm in the red in my music business.
Yep.
But if I could afford it, I would be in the studio every day
Oh yeah.
because I write a lot and I would love to get those songs out of my brain
Mm,
into a form where they sound either how I want them to sound or it's often better. Because when you hire a true professional to work with you in the studio, I have found that most of the time my ideas come out sounding better than I imagined they would when we started because I'm working with people that understand music and know how to take my idea and get it to where I want it to go. So yeah, if someone just handed me a big enough sum of money, I would start the recording process in this record tomorrow. I mean, I wouldn't be able to get the singer tomorrow, but we start tracking instruments right away.
oh yeah. Yeah, no, I mean we could talk. We could talk. I know a lot of musicians and people that work at the industry. One of the things that I want to touch on about our work is, and I'm curious how you got into it, is the Recording Academy. For the listeners who do not know, Mike is in the Recording Academy, but he's not just in it. He is responsible for myself to being in it. So this is also like a huge thank you to Mike publicly. I've told you online, but like this is gonna be huge for me, and you know, I can't. I don't have the words right now to explain my gratefulness for it. I didn't even know this was possible.
You're
So
the honestly, you're the ideal member as far as
yeah,
I'm concerned. Like this, you're the kind of person the Academy needs.
yeah.
So I'm glad that you didn't think I was crazy when I mentioned that idea
I
to you.
I thought you were joking or something. Like I still talk about this with some people because I was like, why would he ask that in my brain? I remember reading it and thinking, how first I can't get into it. I thought it was like impossible. And then the second question was, why would he think I am? And the third one was, wait, this could be real. Like, let's talk about it. Like, this could be like, don't shy away from this opportunity. Talk to him. Um, and then, I was grateful enough to find another nominee. She was also on my Substack, Thea Wood. Shout out her. I'm working on an article right now about my experience getting nominated, what that means to me and stuff. So I'll share more thoughts with you guys about that. But I'm curious, Mike, how did you get into the Recording Academy and what has it been for you so far? What has it been?
So, man, I wanted a Grammy ever since I started learning how to play music. Before I even really knew the significance, right? Because it means more to me now that I know what it's supposed to be about. And
Hmm.
definitely the Academy had its problems, and we'll get into that.
Yep.
But when that's the music award show that you watch when you're a kid because it's on network TV, and then you argue with your buddies about who got snubbed or who deserved it or who didn't. And
Hmm.
I want one. And then once I became a musician and you learn more about how the business works, it is in its ideal form. Again, there are problems, but what it is supposed to be is an award granted to you by your peers, so by
Yep.
other people in the music business, and it's validation for your art. And I mean, I'm going to be vulnerable and open. We all want someone to recognize us and validate our hard work, right?
Oh, yeah.
Uh, so how I got the idea was through a very talented and lovely and friendly musician named Cheryl B. Englehart, who is from upstate New York. And I met her from going to music conferences and listening to her speak on some of her areas of expertise. And as I got to know her and spend more time with her at conferences or at retreats and such, and I learned that she is an Academy member. And she also, from the time she was young and working on music, had a dream of going and winning a Grammy Award. But she would talk about it openly. Like, this is my goal. I really want a Grammy. Here's what I'm doing to go get it.
Mm.
And she's been nominated twice, I believe, which
I
is fantastic. She didn't win either of them, but it's probably only a matter of time. The genre that she is working in is not one of the super massive genres, so the that doesn't mean you have more chances to win, but the network of people that know each other who do that is smaller. So she's obviously very recognized among the people that make the music she makes, and her music is good. What she's doing is not my genre of choice, but it's good music,
Mhm.
and she works really hard and has really creative ideas on how to bring a project together and how to market it. So I feel like it's only a matter of time. But that's what put the bug in my head. Like when someone that you personally know, because I had never met an academy member before, but when someone you personally know is in the academy and then they talk about it, oh, this is all right. That's doable. And then I went and read the rules and found out how you get in. And when I look, and at the time I'd had two records out, and I was like, oh, I totally qualify. Like
Yeah.
I didn't feel like a qualified enough musician to get in. Like I didn't, like imposter syndrome. And then I looked at the requirements. I'm like, oh yeah, I totally qualify. I just got to find recommendations. And that was that. I applied, got the recommendations and got in. And since then, I have learned that the Academy has been making a conscious effort to get more female and get more melanated.
Yeah.
And you can probably see this historically in the way in who wins and who gets nominated for the categories, but it's overwhelmingly old white dudes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in the music industry is so much more than the kind of music that old white dudes listen to. And again, old white dudes, don't be offended, but there's a lot of music out there. And there are a lot of diverse people making that music. So the people that our peers in the industry are more diverse than only old white dudes. You and I are not only pals, we're music industry peers.
Yeah.
And so the Academy should be a cross section of the people that are making music, that are writing about music, and that are doing the professional behind the scenes work in music. And that means women, and it means brown people of all shades, and it just means a cross section of society. And they noticed that their demographic did not reflect a cross section of society, and they put in the work to do better at that. Um, Now you still have to qualify. Like you can't get in if you're not working in the music business, you're not going to get into the academy no matter what you look like.
Wow.
Uh, so in order to get the application, two existing academy members must recommend you. And when you recommend someone, you have to explain to the academy what this person is to you. How do you know them?
Mhm.
Why are you recommending them? Why do you think they should get in? What would they bring to the table? And then after that, the academy sends the prospective person. Basically, it's like a job interview. They're like, give us your music resume, and they ask you a bunch of questions because they want to make sure you're legit. And then in July, they email out the invitations, and boom. So now you, Stanley, you get to nominate. I mean, you get to recommend two people per year. You get to pay
Yes.
it forward.
Yes, that's what I've been spending the last couple of weeks thinking. I was like, wait, this is like a burden. This is like a responsibility.
Well,
This is
you
a
had to like February.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna think about this a lot in the fall. There's a lot of people I think deserve to be in that I know, especially people of color and women. Um, that it's an honor now to even be in that position. So there's definitely a lot of great writers, great artists that I know that are so overlooked, so undervalued.
Yeah.
Um,
And some of them will say no. I've had people say no.
really?
I mean, there's a one, maybe not everyone understands what it's for or
Yeah.
the mission. Two, there is an annual membership fee, and maybe
Yes.
if you have a lot of other expenses, this might be something that you feel you don't want to, right? Am I going to get my money's worth for, and maybe some people don't need it, right? Like it's definitely not a must. It definitely, you don't have to be a member to win one. Like
No.
if you make the best record of the year, and it's enough people think it is, you don't have to be a member to win one. But yeah, there are people that I've thought this person's perfect, and they've said no, which is fine.
Yeah.
Um, they I there are people, there are plenty of people, more than two every year that I'd be like, this person would be. You, for me, it's just I want to find people that care about music as much as I do.
Yeah.
People that really care, making it, listening to it, writing about it, whatever they're doing. Um, like even if they're like, let's say you're an audio engineer
Hmm.
and you just make other people's records all the time. Guess what? There's engineers in the academy. You literally spend your time making music. Even it's not yours, but you're like, those are the kind of people, like hard working, everyday blue collar musician types. Academy needs more of those and fewer executives, I think. But
Yeah, amen. Amen. Yeah, and I want that audio engineer to get a Grammy. I want that.
Right?
Yeah, he
Those
deserves a
those are the
Grammy.
people that deserve them.
They do. That's why you're gonna get one. We're gonna put this out there now. 2026. We don't know what year it's gonna happen, but remember in 2026 we made this video. And when it happens, we're gonna look back at this video and laugh. But
I hope, but it is. I mean,
it's
first of
very
all,
difficult.
the only thing you can control is make the best art you can make,
Yep.
and
Yep.
and try to touch people with it. And the rest of it is a lot of marketing.
A lot of our 90% of our job is
90% of it is marketing.
marketing.
Which I'm sure a lot of the people you talk to will say this. We're not doing this because we want to be marketers. I just want to write songs, but it's part of the job.
Unless you make so much money from your art, I would recommend paying people to market it for you, but
Exactly.
most people don't make that much
No.
money, so you have to market
Yep.
a lot. And so the rule of thumb is just spend a lot of your time, as much time as you made making the art, make spend that much time. I always tell like writers, our new musicians, spend that amount of time marketing, or else it won't be fair to the art time that you spent. But yeah, I mean, I know journalists who have gotten Grammys for like liner notes and like writing
Yep.
in the art. So that's the type of Grammy I'm gonna try to get one day in the future. But I want you to get it for like a project. I want you to get it for the music itself, and it's only a matter of time. Additional question for you is how has the experience been for you with other members? Have you attended events and like
Yeah.
network? Has it helped your network a lot?
It's been great. And as you know, part of the music business is meeting people and networking.
Yep.
Uh, while we would like to think that everything in the music business runs on merit, it does not.
Mm-mm.
Sometimes it is who you know and people that can do things for you, or you can do things for other people. And there's a way to look at that that's cynical, but also we talked about how much both of us value community. Networking should be about building community.
Mm-hmm.
We know that we have something in common with these people already. We both love music enough to be in the academy. That is a big time icebreaker,
Yes.
right? And especially when you know, like a lot of other people in the music probably don't want to have to talk to other people either. But at an event, we're all there for that reason. So it's meeting people that are just as passionate about music as I am, but their career has taken them to a different place. Is really inspiring, and it reminds you. It's just nice to see hardworking people out there that are just doing the thing for the love, and they're never gonna get rich or famous. Like they're like me. I'm never gonna get rich or famous. That's not why I make music. So when I was a brand new member, I was in Los Angeles for not an Academy thing. I was in Los Angeles for something else. But they had a new member welcome event at the Los Angeles chapter, and I'm like, I'm in town, I'm a new member, and they're like, yeah, yeah, come on. So I went to that. That was cool.
Well,
I'm a member of the Chicago chapter, and there is an annual event in Chicago that is outstanding. In fact, if you can get there for that this year, Stanley, you should come.
yeah, just we'll talk
We'll
offline.
talk afterwards.
Yeah.
The cool thing is, as long as there's room, you can go to any of the Academy chapter events anywhere.
Ah,
Uh, Now you have the benefit, your chapter, Stanley, does more stuff than mine does. Like you have more events
yeah.
in New York for the Academy members than I do. And I think, my chapter's challenge is there's like 9 states that it covers or
Yeah.
something. So, I mean, it's based in Chicago, but I live in Ohio and,
Yep.
there's Minnesotans and Canada. Like there's a lot of people and it's tough. And so I feel like some chapters have it easier to get people together than others, right? LA chapter, Nashville chapter, New York chapter, easier to have events more often. But
Mm.
I've never been to an Academy event that was bad.
Mm.
I've always met interesting people. I met a music attorney at the Chicago event last year. So, like, if I need a music, and we all at some point are going to need a music attorney for something at some point.
Oh
But
yeah.
now I know one. Like, I've met someone face to face, and this is a person that we got to know each other. We chatted over a snack and a beer, and this is a person I would feel comfortable hiring to handle a legal matter, music related, if I needed to. Um, Things like that,
Love that.
and not just meeting other musicians that hey, maybe I can play on your record, maybe you can play on my record, but I met a couple of teachers, like music teachers at the Chicago event, and just listening to the joy they get from teaching music to kids, right?
Mm.
Um, the gentleman one of the gentlemen, I think he's our chapter president, runs a nonprofit for kids in Chicago, and his kids played the dedication ceremony for the presidential library that just opened in Chicago. So like these kids that got to play with Eddie Vedder, which is like, but like the gentleman that runs that nonprofit, like I met him at our event last year, and he's like, yeah, I run this nonprofit, and it's like, well, that is a cool thing that you're bringing music to kids, and I'm sure that he's going to enjoy talking about his experience at the because we have our event in a couple of weeks. So I'm sure he'll enjoy talking about that experience. I'm totally going to ask what it was like to meet Eddie Vedder because he's one of my childhood heroes. Um, Stuff like that. Nashville throws a fantastic block party every year. A few of the chapters throw block parties. Nashville's block party is like free food. I think there's like a 2 or 3 drink free limit before they actually start paying. But there's like a concert, and it's the kind of concert that would probably cost you $50, but since you're an Academy member, you just get to go.
Nice.
And like I met Reese Palmer at ours last year, not last year, year before last. I couldn't afford to go last year. Not the getting in is free, is the traveling to Nashville and staying there
Yep.
is what costs money, right? Corey Wong played at the one I went to, and he's
Nice.
so good, so good. There was a Grammy-winning gospel artist. I don't remember her name, but there was a Grammy-winning gospel artist that was on the concert bill that night, and her band was awesome. Like it was just, and I met like people that I had seen in music blogs, just kind of hanging out. Um, but like while we're there, we're all peers, right? Even though you don't, I mean, I don't feel like a peer to some of these people, but
You are.
you are, and we're just all hanging out, enjoying music, having a drink, having a chat. It's if you're not into meeting people, then you probably it's probably not for you.
Yeah.
Um, and you're supporting like they do some things to help musicians. I believe there's a fund that they help pay for musicians' insurance if they can't afford it, and there's some educational outreach kind of thing. So the Academy does a whole lot of other things, and I'm sure that our membership dues go to some of the altruistic efforts that they're making. But it has been worth it to me so far.
So
There's
cool. Yeah, I'm definitely going to try to go to as many events over the years as possible. I'm going to try to, over my time, go to Miami, go to Nashville, go to, I'm blanking on all the chapters, Chicago, LA,
Memphis has
Memphis.
one.
Yep.
Memphis chapter had their block party in New Orleans this year,
Oh,
which I'm
no.
like, right? I couldn't make it. I
That's
really wanted to
cool.
go to that because I've never been to New Orleans, and everyone says it's a city you just want to eat your way through. Uh,
Yeah. And they have great music. Like,
but yeah, maybe I'll be able to do that next year. But
oh, yeah.
I think San Francisco's got one,
Hmm.
and I don't remember all the rest of them. But
I feel like Texas should have one if they don't.
Austin surely has
Austin.
one.
Yeah, they have such
That's
a
a music city.
huge music city. And then for the Midwest, it's just Chicago.
Just us, yeah, Chicago.
Wow.
And then up your way, Philadelphia has one, and New York has one. Which
That's not
it's
fair.
weird because they're super close to each
They're
other, right?
so
But
close. They're so close.
yeah,
Yeah, they should have one in like Maine and then New York, so the people in New England have one, or Boston should have one. But okay, I love that. Yeah, I'm so super excited. This is going to be awesome. My goal is to meet artists, connect with them, get a bunch. You guys are going to get an obnoxious amount of musicians now on the podcast because of
I
this.
mean, you're gonna if you're a podcaster, like it's
Yeah.
gonna be gold for you.
Yeah. The amount
Um,
of people that reached out since I announced I got in is obnoxious. So I'm gonna be obnoxious because I asked all of them, "Do you guys want to be on?" And they're half of them are like, "Of course."
yeah,
So
yeah.
that
Now,
that's
what you
my
haven't experienced that you will experience soon is
hmm
for your consideration season, FYC season,
Yes.
when when the folks will reach out to you and say, "Hey, I have this project, and I'd like you to
Yes.
consider voting for it for best whatever category." There
Mhm.
are certain there's very specific rules around what you can and can't say when you're asking people to consider your music for an award. You
Yeah.
cannot specifically ask someone to vote for you.
Got
People do.
it.
You cannot randomly add people to a mailing list. People do.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm a rule following kind of dude, so I don't do any of that stuff, but I also don't turn nobody in. Like if somebody,
Yep.
I respect the hustle, but your inbox and all of your socials, when it becomes time, because, and I'm sure people, if you can afford it, you farm this work out. I've done it just myself. But like when I'm trying to promote for, if I have something for consideration, I just go to social media and find out who joined the academy this year because we all post about it when we
Yeah.
join, right? So at least all the rookies I could find, but I reach out to them on a person to person basis, so it's
Smart.
not spam. And then
Smart.
if they don't want to hear from you, they'll tell you. I mean, but be prepared to you're gonna get a lot of communication the next 2 or 3 months, and that's
That's
kind
good.
of it's part of the fun. And you'll make friends that way. You'll meet
Mhm.
people that there are people that I've met through social that way,
Wow.
and that are just again hardworking musicians out there doing the thing. One of the musicians that I met that way on social actually won a Grammy this past year, and I
Nice.
didn't have anything to do with it because I don't work in their genre, and the rules say you can only vote in the categories where you work. So like, I wasn't gonna, but like, we made friends, and I was like thrilled that they won, right? And that, which is like, feeling joy for someone else is a cool thing, even though I did not contribute to their victory in any way. Um, but again, just hardworking, everyday musicians going out there and making the best art they can, and they were recognized for their work. And yeah, I felt good for them. They deserved it, and I hope they win more.
Love that. Love that. And I have to ask, the Grammys themselves, have you been there? Have you been to the Grammy Week events? Or is there a way members can go if they're
Yes.
not nominated for awards?
Um, all of us members can buy 2 tickets. I don't think they're cheap. I have not been because it's a lot.
It's a
And
lot.
I'm sure first of all, I'm sure you've been to LA. It's
Yeah, yeah.
not the easiest city. I mean, it's just LA is always crowded anyway.
Everything's
But
spread
like,
out.
but like, imagine like LA for an event, and the traffic's already bad. Now, if you're nominated, you get to go for free. So I'm hoping that that's the way. Like, I mean, at some point, I'll probably go,
Yeah,
even if I have to buy a ticket. But it would be a significant expense, not so much for the tickets. They're not probably too much bad worse than like a modern pop concert ticket.
true.
But there's the flights,
Yes.
there's the hotels, there's eating while you're there. So at some and that's an expensive business trip, but I don't have the funds to do that right now. But someday I would love to go. I know people that have gone. Actually, one of the musicians that I recommended the year before last, she got in and went to the Grammys her first year. But she lives in
Wow.
LA, so it's a lot easier for her, right? Didn't have to pay for hotel, right? Just
Yeah.
just had to run on down there. So I got to live vicariously through some folks that I know that have gone, and it is something I would love to do someday. Uh, Word is that the post Grammy parties are where the real networking is at.
Smart. Yeah.
Um, yeah, someday. The statue looks really cool.
Mhm.
I could think of a couple of shelves in my home where it would be.
See, you're already manifesting it. You're already...
Yeah, fellow Ohioan John Legend's got like a gazillion of them, and I
Oh
saw a
yeah.
social video of him, like he was at home with his wife and the kids and the piano, and he's just got like this shelf, and there's like little Grammy statuettes like all over the room, and I'm like, you don't need that many.
Hey, if you just get one, that's gonna put you in the rafters for Dayton.
Honestly, when they say it's an honor just to be nominated, they're not lying. It would be an honor
True.
just to be nominated.
Your Grammy nominated artist,
You
Mike
get a you
Bankhead.
get a certificate for the nomination. It's not as cool
Oh,
as a statue, but like still.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Okay, so sorry guys, this is like a Joe Rogan episode. We are gonna be talking. I knew we were gonna talk for a while, and I hope the listener loves it. Because this is music journalism talk and artist talk. Okay, I have more questions for you. For
No, I have nothing. I mean, I have work to do for my non-music gig today, but like
you have time.
whatever. I have time.
Okay, good. The next question I wanted to ask, okay, I went through that one. If someone getting it. Just getting into okay, nope, we talked about that. Okay, no, it's about your podcast. I did have more podcast questions.
Go.
For the podcast, how do you pick your guests? And then like sometimes for me, they reach out, sometimes I reach out, but there's certain things I'm looking for. So what are you looking for? How do you get guests? And then second is what is your favorite episodes? Maybe take like two or three questions.
Oh. Now, see, I've never really had anyone ask me about my podcast before, so this is new. So I think I've only had two guests where
Mhm.
they reached out to me.
Nice.
Um, and I think that happened because if you're a musician and you're trying to promote, you, as an indie musician who can't afford to hire PR, one of the things you do is you Google podcasts that talk to musicians, and I'm sure mine came up in a search, and they were like, got an email, hey, we're releasing this record. You want to talk to us about it? Yes. Like, so ideally, I would love for all of our musicians here in Dayton, when they drop a new record, I'd like to have them on the podcast to talk about the new album. I've been very lazy and haven't been doing that as often as I should. And so, if any of the Dayton musicians ever hear this, sorry, but I will. We used to have a podcast here in town that I loved. That every Wednesday was a music episode, and they would talk with musicians that had an important gig coming, or every time you drop an album, you went on this podcast. Now that podcast is defunct, so there's like a big space, there's a hole in our community. Like there's not anybody doing that, and I
Yeah.
wanted to be the person that filled that hole, and I've been not as assiduous as I should in reaching out to the musicians that have been dropping music. This is a personal reminder to do better. Um, so first, local musicians, if they're doing something interesting, I don't care what genre it is, right? They're in my community. I'll talk about the release. Well, we're that's what we're here for. When I meet interested musicians at academy events or at
Yeah.
conferences, I'm always asking people come on the podcast. So a lot of my guests are for that and for folks in my network. It's a different conversation when it's someone that you're already friends with
Yeah.
than with someone who's a complete stranger. Like this has been a very we're friends already conversation, but that's
Hmm.
because we have a lot in common and we've talked on email for a year.
Yeah.
The conversation's a little harder if
Oh yeah.
we have not had, and I'm sure you've experienced this too.
Yeah. Some
Um,
some are tough. Yeah.
my favorite ones. There is a musician who I consider a close personal friend and mentor. His name is Todd Widener. He's from here. He moved to California a few years ago. The first time I had him on, which was way back, and I had the spreadsheet up so I can look.
Smart.
February of 22.
Wow.
That is still the most listened to episode because even though he doesn't live here anymore, he's a very beloved, dare I say, nearly legendary musician in our music scene.
Love that.
And so anytime I have him on, I know there's a certain amount of people from Dayton, specifically the musicians, they're all going to listen. Uh, I should have them on more often. I think I've had him on three or four times.
I like it.
Um, there's a band called Jenny and the Mexicats
Love it.
they are a British lady on trumpet, and then three Latino fellows are her backing band. They're all like they're a full band though, and they're a touring band, and they were going to come play through Dayton on tour. And I reached out to them and did a podcast with their bass player, one episode in English, one episode in Spanish because I speak Spanish,
Love that.
and that was fun. He was super cool, and he's the kind of dude that he's the kind of dude that if we lived in the same town, we'd be friends. Like we're both bass players. And he's the guy in the band. Like he does all of their press. So they're super professional musicians, but like there's one that does the management work and one that does the art stuff, and like so they have it divided up. But he's like the guy that does the press and stuff. So, and that was a fun conversation. I'm a massive, massive Fountains of Wayne fan, and I there's a podcast episode or series where I gathered two other Fountains of Wayne fans, and we're currently working our way through their discography, just basically breaking down their albums one by one. And we've done the first three. The first two are already up. The first three is one of my episodes. The third one's in the can, and I haven't released it yet because I'm an idiot. Um, but there's like three more albums to go after that, so we still have three conversations to have. And then at the end of every year, I do a my favorite albums of the year conversation. And I would love to invite you to this, Stanley.
Yeah.
The problem is I already have two people in that conversation, and it's
Yeah.
already a 2 hour long conversation. I just don't know how long a listener is going to want to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I might invite you anyway.
Yeah.
But it's
I'd be honored.
the music director at our local NPR affiliate is one of the guests I have on that, and she runs not only she MD, which means she gets a lot of music every day. She
Mhm.
also has two shows that she does, and I get a lot of new music from her, just from listening to her shows. I discover a lot, and her station is they support our Dayton bands. They really support and play local music. And the other person on that podcast is a journalist that I made friends with when I was promoting my second record. Reached out, wrote an article, but I ended up reading all of his other work, and I like the way he writes. And then now we like you have your music buddies. Like here's something I say, check this out. I read his work. So basically, me and two real journalists. And at
Yeah.
the end, and every December we go through our top 10 favorite albums. And as you can imagine, that's not like it's like one of us said this is the album. We talk about why we like it. Discussion.
Yeah.
So when you're dealing with 30 albums and all, that is not a brief conversation.
No.
And it is deep and nerdy, and I love it. And I always find like every single year, like 8 of the albums these other people bring, I've not heard. And it's wonderful. It's just I just wonder. I don't know if a lot of people listen to it, but it's
Yeah.
one of my favorite conversations to have because I always discover, all right, I got to go listen to this. I got to go listen to this, and that's yeah. Like I would, man. I'm
We
trying to. It
could,
would be a 3 hour chat if I added you.
it
We'd
would
be
be,
struggling to get it under 3 hours.
yeah, unless you do it where there's two ways we can do it. One, you could do it where there's only we all pick five,
Yeah.
and then that's one way. The other way is we all do 10, but you split it into two different episodes.
I'll
Part
ask the
one.
other two what they think, what the
Yeah.
best idea is. Because I think what you're listening to is different than what the three of us like.
Yeah.
It would just bring more
More
stuff
music.
that none of it, more music that I haven't heard, which is um
Some
yeah, those are my favorites. But I I would like to do more. I speak Spanish and French. I would like to do more episodes in those languages.
yeah.
And I told you that I emailed Julie Campiche. I have not heard from her yet,
Okay.
but I listened to her, listened to the snippet you posted of your conversation. And obviously, French is her first language, judging
Yep.
by her accent, right?
Hmm.
Um, and so I'm like, I don't want to like have the same conversation you did because that's not cool.
No,
And I was like, oh, well, if I talk to her in French, it'll naturally be a completely different
she'll love.
conversation.
Yeah, it'll be completely
So
different.
I hope she says yes. If she doesn't, I didn't even know that jazz harpists were a thing. So look, I'm an old guy, but we all have our silos, right? So I'm like, harp, and I love harp. It's just a beautiful instrument and it looks so difficult and it's just expensive to maintain, but they're so cool. I'm like, harp, jazz, huh? And I have an uncle that lives in Brooklyn who's a massive, massive jazz fan. And I'm like, hey, you ever heard of Julie Campi? She's like, no. I'm like, jazz harpist. Like when I think of jazz, I don't think of harp. He's like,
No.
I do. And then he texts me 6 jazz harpists that he likes. Like
Yeah.
he's like, I like here are jazz harpists that I'm listening to now. Name, 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 name. I'm like, of course, of course. There's this whole world that I have somehow missed.
See,
So I
dude.
have more. Basically, he gave me more homework. A bunch of albums from the '60s and '70s.
Ooh, yeah. You could share that with me. I would.
I will share it with you
That's
as soon
actually
as we're. I think that's
that's
the recording is off thing.
That's really cool. Yeah, I emailed you, but just so the listeners list here, I don't remember how I found her, but it was because of her latest album. It was making noise, a little bit of noise in the spaces I was in online, and I was like, all right, who is she? And she was winning some awards, and we
Hmm.
talked about that in the interview. Um, and so I dig into her stuff, and now I'm realizing she's like one of the premier harp jazz artists in Europe, really
Yep,
in the world, but definitely in Europe. She's a big name. And cold email, that's like for me, it's probably 70% cold email now. It's like 30% people are starting to reach out to me. But the harder names you see on my podcast, I'm reaching out to them. Like Twin, Stella Donnelly, those are tougher names because they get on NPR and
yep.
KPX. And so those are cold reach outs. When they reach back out, got to lock in that interview as quickly as possible because I think for Julie, especially she has a kid, tour, there was something happening. I think she moved recently, so that it's life stuff. But if you don't hear from her for a few weeks, let me know. I'll try to make something
All
happen and
right.
introduce you guys.
I won't be. I'll try not to be in a rush because there
Yeah.
are. Yeah, I gotta really do my editing work to
Oh
get
yeah,
these that I
you have
get the
podcasts
ones in
coming
the
out.
can. I have like
Yeah.
3 in the can that I
Yeah.
haven't posted. It's just like I
Yeah.
feel really bad about that. But
But
and
I
I
would
have a
love.
list of people. I keep a list of people I want to talk to.
Oh.
This is one is a lady that I met. at a music conference
Mhm.
uh, who is a professional like backup singer.
Nice.
Which I mean, it doesn't sound glamorous, but when you look at her social media, she's like always in a foreign country and always in nice places. And I mean, it's hard work.
It's
Like
very hard.
it seems like
Yeah.
not a lot of sleep
No.
and getting places and rehearsing and learning the things quickly. But I mean, to go sing for a living, I mean,
And
I'm not a singer, but I'd take it, you know?
they're singing with different artists too. Like they have
Different
their own
artists.
different.
Yeah.
That's hard. I would love to have a background singer on there. How did you
I ha
find the background singer?
I have no idea.
Oh, you
Uh,
said you met her at an event.
I met her at a conference. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just like a normal person. You have a normal conversation, you exchange social, and then I found out later, oh, this is a glamorous person.
Nice.
Victoria Park, who I've already had on the podcast, but
Yep.
she spent a year as an exchange student in France, and we promised each other we'll do one in French. So I have no idea when we're going to do it because she's super busy. But like that's on my list is do one with Victoria in French. Um,
That'd be sick.
um,
She had a good KEXP episode recently. She's in like another
I
band.
oh she's been in like three bands this year.
Yeah, she's in a lot of
Wait,
bands.
I'll have to find that.
I'll send it to you. Yeah, it's like pretty recent. I was just watching KEXP. I just love watching them, and I was like, "Is that Victoria?"
Yeah,
And
I
I
just saw
texted her.
her
Yeah.
last month. She came through here on tour.
Oh, good.
And so, I mean, she doesn't live that far away, but when she
Mhm.
comes through Ohio, I do try to stop by and see her. And it's a
Sick.
fun, it is a fun show. She is just one of the most lovely people you will ever meet
She
and a
is.
super talented musician. And I discovered her from reading
I was gonna ask, how did you find her?
music blogs. And
You,
I will tell you exactly. I read blogs and her music and Monica, that
yep.
band, and that's Devin McKnight, who used to be in Speedy Ortiz. That's his
Hmm.
band. They were touring together, and I thought to myself,
No.
"Oh, these two indie artists that I've never seen and never met, and probably will never meet, but I've read about, and they're touring together. I had where, and it was like they were doing 7 shows in New England.
Wow.
So I cashed in a bunch of frequent flyer miles and flew to Maine and
No.
went to the show,
Hell yeah.
and yeah, so." I tried not to come off as super creepy. Yeah, I live in Ohio and I flew out here to see you guys specifically because you and you were touring together and I would not get that chance. But I made friends with everybody and
Hell
I
yeah.
think I was able to convince them that I'm not a stalker. And Devin lives in Philadelphia now. He was living in Brooklyn at the time. But Monica put out a record last year that's
Yeah.
very good. And of course, Victoria put one out last year that's also very good.
There you go.
And yeah, I don't. Monica doesn't hit the road as often.
Hmm.
But if Devin, if you ever hear this and you come through Ohio, dinner's on me, dude. Just you got my
So
number.
so cool. Yeah, I found Victoria's stuff on Bandcamp. I was just sometimes I go there and
Nice.
I've told her I think it was her album cover. It was like their debut, her debut album with just her face.
Hmm.
I just was like, that was one of the ones I picked that day, and I just listened to it, and it touched me. Especially her song "Dimmerest" because I'm from New Jersey.
Dude, that's such a good song.
Such a
And there's
good.
a line in that song that I wish. In fact, I just told her this the other day. There's a line in that song that I wish I had written.
Mm,
There's more to me than the parts I dread is a wonder. Oh, what a great lyric!
that's a
I was
good
like,
lyric. That's one of my
that's
favorite lyrics.
because I feel like it's universal and personal and yeah, I love her. She's wonderful.
There's
You're
more than
exactly the kind of listener that every musician is looking for.
yeah,
If you're listening to this podcast, be the kind of person that just looks at random stuff on Bandcamp and then buys something because you
literally.
be that listener.
Be that listener. The musicians will thank you because they are doing it. And
They will love you literally forever.
yeah, I
And
literally
and
like,
for me, I try to be the kind of listener that I want, if that makes sense.
that makes sense.
Like, which means that if I find something I don't like, all
Yeah,
right, how would I want someone to treat my music if
that's a
they
good.
listened to it and didn't like it, right?
This is good.
Um, Sometimes that's hard. I grew up, on a lot of media snark, and that it's hard to not let that come out sometimes. But I
Yeah.
do try to remember, be the listener you want, even if it's music that I don't like. Try to.
I rarely have negative articles, and that's on purpose because there is stuff I don't like to see. But I think whenever I do experience things that I don't like, whether that's an album, a song, an artist, a trend, I try to come across, especially like for albums, I do album reviews sometimes, not as much as I probably should, but for the album reviews, I'll do a whole section just called Room for Improvement. So I'm really just talking about how this could have improved rather than things I hate about this album. It's really like how could they have made this better? And then if it's like a trend that's frustrating with me, the article I end up writing is what do I see as like a better path forward? So it'll be like best practices for path forward for things we could learn. That's something because the internet is becoming it's very toxic already, but it's
It's
becoming
very
more
toxic.
toxic. So the more we could just contribute to the positive parts or the things that we could improve on, the community, that's I think our job, our role on an artist level, a journalist level, because the angry people that are going to be upset and spew very negative things and bad things, they're going to be there. My job, I figured over time I can't contribute to that because that's I'm trying to show the opposite and increase that because right now we're lopsided that
We're lopsided.
they get way much more traction. They get if I wrote like five very negative articles, that probably could have blown me up that much faster. But I'm like, that's not what I want to do, and that's not the type of art that I respect, and those type of journalists that I respect, and that's being able to then share oh, Victoria, I love this album. That means something. Or being able to text Twin, this band I really like, and now like I'm able to talk to them. That's like an honor to be able to do. But it wouldn't have happened if like any negative thing I saw, I like talk crap online.
Right.
And that's not fair. That's just not right.
The young me didn't understand the difference, but old me realizes this is garbage and this is not for me are not the same thing.
Mm,
There's plenty, and I'm a lot better at this than I was when I was younger. There's plenty of stuff that I can recognize that's good. I
yeah,
just don't like it.
yeah. Same.
Uh, and even when I'm joking about something that's not, so I will tell you something that I'm not proud of, but it was funny at the time.
No.
In our year-end chat in this past year, there's a band out of Canada called Pony who I love,
Hmm.
and I told Juliet and Taylor, yeah, this band is like what Wet Leg would be like if Wet Leg were good. So I mean that's really me. And then I was like, first of all, Wet Leg, they're very successful and they
Very.
don't need me. Their
Yep.
music is fine. It's just not for me.
I know.
Like, and that's what I meant. I meant it's like
Yeah.
their music's just not my thing.
Yep.
But yeah, it's
I,
funnier to say it the way I said it first. But
that's
that's not.
10 times
I didn't
funny.
mean that they're terrible. I just meant that
No.
what they're doing is not for me.
And it's you should be allowed. I think people don't realize you should be allowed to not like things. Like that's fine.
Yes.
And I hate it when you say, "Oh, I don't really like that last album by this artist," and then your comments will be like, "Well, you just have bad taste. You just don't like that thing." That's not really what this is about.
Yeah.
Not all music is going to resonate with everyone, and that's the point. The point is that you need to find music that resonates with you, and if
Yes.
you love it, share it with people, and the right people will come and find you. When I started writing about music, I was writing about stuff that it was very hard to connect. But then those people started to find me, and then people would reach out from China, and then a kid reached out from New Zealand, and somebody reached out from England, somebody reached out from throughout the United States. Students started to reach out to me first, and then I was like, okay, something's here. There's something going on, and then I started talking back to them, got feedback. They're like, okay, we want this. Like, we love this type of stuff. That's why my articles almost are like educational. It started because it was like, I realized who my audience was. And then over time, I'm like, just write about like stuff you like. Like, it's what you like,
Right.
but then write even weirder stuff. Like, what are you really? And then it got off the chain. And now I talk to so many artists. Now I speak to the artists in a lot of the articles, but it's about finding your thing. Yeah, I mean, Wet Leg, that whole deadpan type of like sing speak thing. I'm not there's some artists that I think that are good at it and I like Kurt Vile. I like when he does it sometimes, but most of the time it's not for me either. Father John Misty has a very similar kind of way to do it. It's tough. It's tough. Some people love it. Some Kill Moon, they're really popular at it too, but it's rough. But it's amazing how big Wet Leg got.
They're big. And you know what? There are people whose taste I love that
Yeah.
love Wet Leg. And so
Yeah, yeah.
we're just gonna disagree on that band, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's not like they need me to say nice things about them. They're plenty successful and they're putting the work in.
Yeah.
So congratulations, folks.
And if you see this,
Don't quit. Keep it up.
Yeah, if you see this, go on Mike's podcast. That would be it. That would be one of my
You know
favorite
what? I would
episodes.
talk to them. I would probably, I don't know what we
I
would, it
would,
would be an interesting conversation. I would at least like to talk to the bass player.
yeah, I was
For
about to
the
say, yeah, what would that even conversation look like? I would love to have a conversation with somebody who I don't like their music at all. Maybe
Oh, that's a project. I'm
that's a
gonna have to find.
like find an album that you
Would
just
that
didn't.
person agree to talk to you though? Is the
That's the
I
question.
would like if someone was like, I can't stand your music, but I would love to talk to you for. I would do it,
Yeah.
but I don't think not every musician would do that.
Not every musician would do it. And on our end, as we reach out to the musician, we would have to tell them why we want to talk to them.
Yeah,
I would have to figure out how I would phrase that. It's like, I don't know if I would even say I don't like their music, but I would have to, that would be part of the shtick of the interview. Maybe I would have to get creative, but that's something. What
you've
leg
given
now
me.
knows you don't like the music. So now you don't even have to do that part.
Don't
You
even have to.
can,
That is a. I'm gonna make that a goal for the year. Try to find someone whose music I don't like
yes.
and have them on and have a respectful,
Like a
interesting conversation.
yes.
Because I feel like, as a musician, you should be able to learn from any kind of music, even music that you don't like.
There's a good interview between Logic, this rapper, and Anthony Fantano. And they did the interview because Anthony was crapping on these Logic albums, crapping on, and it was making Logic really upset. And he was like beginning to like about to diss him, but instead, like for some, I forgot who reached out to who first. I think Logic reached out to Anthony, and they sat down and they just talked about the criticism, how Logic intended the albums to sound, how Anthony interpreted the albums, and where they met. And then like for the next Logic album, Anthony is on there.
That's
Um,
awesome.
so there's ways you may be on the next Wet Leg album is what I'm trying to say. Or they may like ask you to write a song because part of it is there's just a bridge of misunderstanding or just a disconnect between what they are making and how you're seeing it.
That's
And
probably what it is, honestly.
they could probably make something you would like if they talk to you and they like heard, okay, maybe it's our delivery, maybe it's our style. Okay, so for the sake of time, I have four final questions.
No rush.
This has been great. They're called the If Ever You're Listening questions. I ask this to all my guests, one way or another. I tailor it a little bit for the guest, but I'm curious your responses to all of these. We have not touched on any of these yet. The first one, super fun, super easy. It's the If Ever You're Listening podcast. So I want to know, what is Mike listening to these days? What is on your summer 2026 playlist?
All right, Mike doesn't do playlists. Mike listens to albums because Mike
Yeah,
is old.
even better. Give
Uh,
me some albums.
every now and then singles, right? The album's not out yet. So I'm gonna there's a band from the 90s called Black Lab, and I say they're from the 90s, but they're still here. And they've released they're gonna drop a new record this year. They've released two singles. One is called Go. It is a great song. The other one is called Atom Bombs, I believe. Also a great song, but different feel. One of them is kind of like a throwback 90s rocker. One of them is kind of a love ballad throwback 90s. But if you like 90s music or if you are a Black Lab fan, um, listen to those two singles. Go get the record when it drops. Caveat: I am not objective about this band because in one of the weirdest twists of life and fate, my longtime mentor Todd, who I mentioned earlier from Dayton, is in Black Lab now. Which
Whoa.
there was a time when I'm my friend Todd did not know about Black Lab. And the gentleman that writes the songs for Black Lab, his name is Paul Durham. He's one of my favorite songwriters. And there was a time when I sent Todd a Black Lab playlist. Like, here are my favorite songs from this band. You need to hear this band. And it turns out that they have a mutual friend who introduced them. They hit it off, and now Todd's in that band.
Wow.
And I would love to go back and tell 18-year-old me that because these are two of my favorite songwriters, and I it's weird. It's weird to me that they know each other. It is even weirder that my friend is in one of my favorite bands now. So,
You're
uh,
connected to your favorite band
like,
directly.
there's no reason that should have happened. It makes no sense. So I cannot wait to hear the rest of this album because it's gonna be like I mean, they didn't make it for me, but it's gonna feel like they made it for me.
Yes.
Um, there's a gentleman named Happy Chichester or Chichester. He's from Columbus. He used to be in a band called Hal and Maggie. They had a hit back in the 90s, an MTV hit. He just dropped a solo record. It's very good. I'm gonna get the name of the album here because I don't want to. I want to tell you what it's called. I just got it on vinyl, and it is called Test Time. Testtime. The new Happy Chichester record. Uh, all right, and I have a list of albums that I am listening to as the year goes. It looks like it's about 35 deep right now, and I've only gotten through half of it.
Wow.
Yeah. Some of the I Failure, one of my favorite bands, put out a new record this year. It's called Location Lost. I'm going to see them on tour in October. If you like Failure, you'll like it. If you don't, you might not. Freako is a band from Chicago, and they are outstanding, a great indie rock band. And I discovered them 2 years ago, and now I'm just gonna wait for them to drop stuff. It's Guided by Voices is indie rock royalty, and they're from my city. And I'm told they have a new one out. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I will. They release stuff. They release like 3 albums a year the last few years. I
Wow.
just can't even keep track of them. I haven't gotten to the new Jill Scott record, but I will.
Great. I have heard that one. That one's
It
incredible.
is good.
That's
I
gonna
have
be on my
Okay.
list, most likely.
I
Yeah.
haven't gotten to the new Violet Grohl record,
Yeah.
and sure, she's a nepo baby, but I
Yeah.
will. And I'll try not to let that influence me.
No, no.
Because whatever. Make the music you want to make, kid.
Yeah. I have an
Yeah.
article coming out about my opinion on Nepo Baby, so stay tuned.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Look,
Yeah.
some of them are good, and I'm
Yeah,
sure they want to distance themselves from that, and some of them
exactly.
probably need the help. But
Exactly.
oh, Snarls,
Gnarls.
lovely rock band from Columbus. They just dropped a new EP. It is called In Heaven There's Rainbows, 5 songs. They get better with everything they do. And they're also just, I keep wanting to say they're kids, but they're in their mid 20s. They're just really nice. Um, really nice, really friendly. They make good music. And I wish nothing but success for my fellow Ohioan Snarls. You hear that, Snarls? I love you guys. You're
Yeah.
great.
No, that's a great list. Great, great
There's
freaking.
more, but I didn't want to.
No, those are good. That's listeners, pick up a couple of those, listen to those. Those are good albums. I heard of some of them, not a lot of them though. So that you gave me homework, which I love adding albums to my list. My next question is about what is an undervalued or underappreciated part of being a musician that fans or even non-musicians in the music industry don't fully understand?
The admin.
Talk to me about it.
Every piece of music, if you are going to release it, has a whole lot of information that has to go with it if you ever want to get paid.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And for people that don't know how it all works, it sounds like a lot.
Mm,
Once you understand how it works and you keep up with it regularly, it's not overwhelming.
mm,
But to break it down simply and as briefly as possible, there's a certain amount of information that goes with the song. In the music business, when I say song, I mean only the lyrics and the melody.
mm.
So to relate it to the Grammys, Song of the Year,
Oh
the
yeah.
person that wins that is the writer, the
Yep.
person, the people or writers these days, the people that wrote the music and the lyrics. And so there's a copyright there, and there's registration stuff there, and there's a certain pay structure for that. There's a whole different pay structure and different registration for the recording of the song, also called the record. The record of the year at the Grammys goes to the artist or the person that made the recording. It does not go to the person who writes the song. In my case, it's the same person. In modern pop music and in a lot of historical pop music, it is not the same person. The writer and the artist are not the same person. You will also hear the recording referred to as the master. That is another, it is a synonym. That's breaking down music 101 for people who are not in the business and don't get it. But those are separate revenue streams. You get paid separately for those. Even if you are the person on both,
Yeah.
the money comes from different places and you have to register those things in different locations in order to make sure that you get your 4 cents from all of the times that your music has been played. And that part and keeping up with the credits and databases and stuff can be very, very time consuming. But again, if you stay on it, it's it is manageable. But if you've never done it and then you all of a sudden write 30 songs, you got to start from scratch, you're going to spend a lot of time doing admin. And that's behind the scenes stuff that nobody cares about. But
Yeah.
if you mess it up, you don't get paid.
No, no. And
Or worse, your song can't be, I'm going to say exploited, but not mean it in a bad way. Your song can't go anywhere. Like
yeah.
if you want to be a person that gets a song on a pop stars record, if you don't have your admin stuff taken care of, that's not going to happen. If you want your song to be in a movie or a TV show, if you don't have the admin stuff taken care of, that's not going to happen. So it's a very important part of the business that nobody sees, and it can be a lot of work. So I think that fits under underappreciated. It's not glamorous at all, but it's something you got to do.
No, no, and it's very very crucial, like you said, to your music getting out there. Whether you get it in a commercial, license for a film, a movie, that's part of the admin. The admin is how you get there. So get your admin done right, musicians, and for the fans, give the musicians some grace because a lot of the times they're frustrated when that stuff gets all messed up.
They are.
It gets complicated when you have like managers and a label. That it's tough on the independent artist side, which is what Mike's talking about. But if you're on a label, it can get increasingly complicated when your team is screwing things up, or
Which
maybe
is a shame because,
yeah,
like, those people are paid to do it right.
exactly. That's it gets very, very sad when I see that. Um, my next question is about AI. Hot button topic. Everybody loves talking about it, but it's
I
changed
don't. I
a
hope it
lot.
burns in a fire. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
It's very insensitive. There's a lot of parts of our planet burning in fires right
a
now.
lot.
Go
I was
ahead.
about to say we're already burning in fire. Shout out Canada.
And France and Spain.
And France and Spain and everywhere else. For the role AI is playing in the music industry, how do you kind of answered it, but just to flesh out your thoughts, how do you see it? Do you see it as a collaborator, a tool, competition to human art, a net negative, a net positive? Talk to me about your thoughts on AI.
It does not create anything.
Yeah.
It is a lowest common denominator aggregating engine.
Hmm.
And there are people that call themselves artists or call themselves creatives and they type a prompt into a website. I'm not going to name the name, but we all know who it is probably.
Yeah.
Um, I hope someday someone sues them um,
Hmm.
because these people have stolen. They've trained their model on copyrighted music without permission, and the model will take the prompt and steal pieces from things that already exist and spit out something. That is not new. It has been cobbled together from things that exist. It is not something that can create, and used in that way, it is theft. Interestingly enough, did you know, and you'll find this out really soon, if AI is anywhere near your work, you cannot submit it for Grammy consideration.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was just
And
in a recording academy meeting about this. Yeah.
I think that's the right approach.
Yep. Yep.
Let's put the it's destroying the planet and enriching the worst of humanity aside. What why would you want to outsource the part of the joy?
Mm-hmm.
The joy of, or if you're miserable, the catharsis.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you want to outsource building community, trying to communicate with your fellow human being, discovering things about yourself through the writing process, happy accidents or happy mistakes? Why would you want to outsource where all the music part of making music? People that want to use, well, it's not even I. There's no intelligence there. People that want to use those kind of programs are looking for a product. They're not trying to create anything, which is fine. But I want no part of it, and I don't want it anywhere near me.
Yeah.
And I make a vow, solemn vow to you and your listeners. I'm never going to use that. I'm going to make music made by people. I'm so old school. I don't even like it when people record things in the box. And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
really trying to get better about that
Mhm.
because as I work with younger engineers, there's more of that, and I get it. Like if you haven't been accumulating gear for 30 years, you might not have a Wurlitzer, but you have one in your software. So I'm working on. Like, I have a guy that has a Wurlitzer and a Hammond and a Rhodes and like lots of vintage gear. So I'm that's. But I'm having a hard enough time dealing with people that make music in the box without going there.
Seriously.
But at least the people that make music in the box are still making music. You can
Yep.
attach the keyboard to the thing, and they're still creating things. There, but there's a person actually making things. There's a person writing those lyrics. There's a person making that composition, uh, telling the website what you want the song to sound like is not songwriting.
And even for you were talking about for the Neo Soul album, you're gonna find you already have these four women in mind who you're gonna have as vocalists. Some people nowadays would just like type in female vocalist singing, and then you would put your lyrics in, and they would just do it. You could make that Neo Soul album tomorrow, but it wouldn't be,
I would never.
yeah, it
It
wouldn't be the same thing.
it wouldn't feel real to me.
Hmm.
Um, and it would again it would take the joy out of making something. It wouldn't be special if I did it that way.
No,
And I wouldn't have the experience of being in the studio and watching a really good singer
yeah,
do the thing. And yes, I know that's going to cost me a lot more money than if I had a software make it. I know. Right? I mean, if I wanted, you're right. If I wanted that record out next week,
you could do it next week.
I could do it in a week if I did not have principles.
Yes, yeah,
But I
principle
do.
aside.
So I
Yeah,
know there's probably someone out there who's like, yeah, I'll make that record next week. That's fine.
I know, but
And
yeah,
but don't ask me to listen to it. Like,
exactly.
so I wonder for people that use those sites and that software,
Hmm.
if you do, answer me this question, person. Why would I listen to that?
Mm.
What what is it about the website? What is it about what the website gave you after you told it a prompt makes it worth me listening to? Because when I make music, I got to convince people to listen to it. Right? I gotta there. You know, there's a lot of work involved in. That's where the marketing part comes in, right? I got to make sure that people know they're getting a piece of me. I'm sharing with them something real. You know, I give people a reason. I try to give people a reason to listen to the music I'm making, to the art I'm making, to share that. What piece of you is in that? If you're just giving a prompt to a website.
Yeah, and and to that point, I think a lot of people are still connected to the artist when they listen to music. Like you were talking earlier about Eddie Vedder, like that being a hero of yours, that probably made Pearl Jam's music so much more meaningful.
Yep.
Um, and nowadays, even now, people are connected with artists. That's why I think social media is so powerful for young people because when they're in Addison Rae or any of these young artists' accounts, Pink Panthers, they love those artists, and so when the music comes, they're listening because of those artists. It's very artist centric right now. Um, and AI is a disruptor to that. So I'm curious how it's going to grow. It is those companies, a lot of them are getting sued because they are going past copyright and they're just taking like SZA is right now challenging one of the companies because of this very thing. Like over almost like 100 of her songs is being studied for these AI music generation bots. So I think there will be significant pushback, but yeah, we'll see. It's reminding me, because I remember those early Spotify days, or even further back. I do not remember this, but just reading about when synthesizers were introduced, and how that was disruptive to instrumentalists. But this feels different. This feels a lot more.
People still play synthesizers though.
People still play. Yeah, there's still an artist behind them, but and Spotify, the streaming service, I should say, not just Spotify. People still buy records. Um,
I do. Not
yeah.
nearly enough people still buy records,
They don't.
but
They
I
don't.
I still buy records. Old
Yeah.
people still buy records. Some
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah. So hopefully, it doesn't take away the artist fully. I bring that up because I think the instrumentalist survived the synthesizer, the record survived streaming services. So this is now testing, can the musician, the human artist, survive AI's introduction into the music industry, and I think it will. It will look a little differently, but it will
We'll have to
certainly.
differentiate ourselves, right? Like,
Yeah, it'll
bring
exactly.
something that it can't do.
Yep.
Live experiences, interacting with people, making them feel seen.
Mm,
A lot of it depends on the way people listen. Not everybody listens the way we do, Stanley. Some
no.
people, music is just a background to their day.
Yes.
If that's the case, and you're not interacting with it on an emotional or intellectual level, you don't care who made it.
Mm-mm.
So, but those kind of listeners aren't going to listen to me anyway. So
No.
I'm not so much worried about losing, right? The kind of listener that is going to listen to me is probably not the kind of listener that's going to like AI music in the first place.
True. True. And that's why those companies are getting so big because there are a lot of people just listening in the background.
Lowest common denominator, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the pop means popular. I
Yeah.
don't make pop music, and that's okay. I think that's a challenge, not just for me, but for all independent musicians. Is
Mm,
there's absolutely a certain amount of people out there who will love what you do. How
mm,
do you find those people? Like, how
mm.
do I find 900 more people like Stanley
Yeah.
who would like what I'm not even asking for? That's not even a lot of people in the grand
That's
scheme of
not a
things.
lot of people.
900 people like you who would like what I do.
Mm,
How do I find those people? And the people that wouldn't like it, it'd be nice if they'd at least give it a chance, but that's okay. We can live without them. But to find the people that truly see you as an artist or that want to share that musical experience with you, how do you find those people? And then because once you find those people, you just show them all the love in the world because it's going to be like a symbiotic relationship, right? But so for all of us indie artists, how do we find that subset of people? Well, those are the kind of people that are going to read your blog
yes.
and listen to your podcast.
Yeah.
Your blog, a lot of your blog and a lot of your podcast is behind a paywall. Those are the kind of people who are going to you know, some not all of us can afford to subscribe to all the blogs we want, but there's going to be a certain amount of people that will part with their hard-earned money to support you as a writer.
Yeah.
There's probably a big there's probably a big Venn diagram cross section of the kind of people that support your journalism and the kind of people that support independent music.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I'm fostering those people. That's like my mission. That's especially since last year when I started the Substack, really pushing, okay, I need like believers. I call them the listeners because those are the people that are really now are paying into this process. And the more musicians I can get behind the paywall, like that's helping you guys too. Because if they're willing to pay this, they're willing to pay for the album or they're willing to pay for the concert. Um, and to make it as big as possible. Because that's how Bandcamp got bigger. That's how Pit
Yeah,
got bigger. Like they're believers of that whole genre as well. I just think there's another wave coming. I think with AI, we're gonna need tech savvy young journalists that know how to deal with this, and that's the role I plan to play. But yeah, there's like I forgot who said this or where I read it. It's some they say like you only need for like fans for artists to blow up, you need like 10,000 dedicated listeners. And once you get to 10,000, you're good. Because then you could tour, you could do your own thing, and then like a label could take you to the next level. But you got to get that first 10,000 of just believers. But I think to your point, you really need like that first 1,000 to even get to that 10,000. If you can get that 1,000, you're good.
I'll put it
That's
this way. I think 1,000 is all you need. And it
yeah.
depends. It's like if you want to be a mega big
Yeah.
rock star, you need more than that.
No, but you could stay at the 1,000.
But if you want a sustainable music career where like that's your income, like that's I hate to equivalent it to a job, but I would love it for it to be my job. I would love not to have another gig and just make music.
Yes.
But if you could get 1,000 people to spend $50 on you a year, that's $50,000 a year. You can live on that in Ohio. You probably can't live on that in New York. But like increase the layout. But if you can get a certain amount of people to just spend a little bit on you, um,
You're good.
it's doable.
It's doable.
Um, Now finding those people and making the connection with them is the challenge.
Yeah.
Mostly the finding because
It's
there's a lot of people.
yeah, which is the marketing.
And
Good.
right,
That's
but
what I
also getting them to slow down and
yes.
take the time. Like I'm not the kind of artist where you hear one of my songs and you're going to love me forever. It's
Mhm.
probably going to take you a couple of songs. It might take you it might take you a couple of albums and really considering the lyrics before you figure out. Like I
Um,
feel like I'm one of those artists that's not like a you don't love me at first listen. But some
Unless
of
you're,
my favorite artists were that for me. Like back in like when I was a kid and
yeah,
we bought the CD because we heard one song and didn't know if it was good. If
yeah.
you didn't like it the first listen, you kept listening because you already spent $15. But there's
Mm,
some of those records, Stanley, some of those records are my favorite ones today. But it
wow.
was the fourth listen before I got it, or the sixth, right? And then once you get it, you're like, oh, I did. So I would love to be that person for somebody.
I love that. Unless their first song is Chameleon Skin, then I think they'll be hooked
I'm
early.
glad you like that because I feel like not a lot of people like that one. But again, it's
No,
going to speak to you
that's
in a certain way.
that's the one. It's 7 minutes for the listener. Like it's a song. Like
It
it's an
is.
experience.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not a 2 minute pop song. It's
that's why, yeah.
and I say a word in that song. I say
You do, you do.
I'm not hiding my feelings.
No, that's why I like it so much. I'm like, okay, this is the mic I know's in there. Okay, okay, yeah, I love that. Okay, that 1,000. I made this is like motivated me to make an article about this. How do you get your first 1,000 or your first 10,000 or something like that? Um, for my final question. This is about advice. If you were to talk to maybe Mike at 18 or Mike at 20 when he really started playing and making, you were already making songs, but making more songs. What advice would you give somebody in their first year in your shoes that want to pursue music or pursue just the music industry in general? Because you do more than just make
Hmm.
albums.
Wow, that's a tough one. Decide what you want to do
Mm,
first, because what you want to get out of music is going to determine the rest of the choices you should make, right? Like if what you want to be is pop star, that looks like a different path than I want to write songs. Like I want to be a staff songwriter in Nashville for a publishing company, right?
mm.
Those are different career paths. So I would say first decide what you want to do as far as where you want to go, what do you want out of music, and always make the music you want to make.
Amen. Amen.
Even if you do something like be a staff writer in Nashville, if music is your day job and it's not feeding that creative person inside of you, go write an album that's not go write an album for you that's not going to be part of your work, right? But you got to come back to because there's a lot of burnout in the music business,
Oh yeah.
and it's ridiculous and it's unfair, and there are plenty. I mean, there's good people in it, but there's bad actors, and it's unfair, and the chances of you making a sustainable living are not great. It's not impossible, and it requires a lot of hard work. I'm not even talking about being rich. I'm talking about not needing another gig.
Yes.
Like a lot of musicians, even musicians that we would consider successful, do something else
Yes.
because they can't pay all their bills with music.
Yes.
And there's so much difficulty that you'll quit if you don't really find the love and the joy in making what you're making. So make what you want to make for you, and that will keep you going in the times that it gets hard and you want to quit. Um, yeah, I would also say grow thick skin because you're gonna hear. I mean, and we're artists. It's hard when people we make something from our heart and people crush it. It's
Hmm.
hard, yeah, but it's gonna happen to you. It'll happen to you more. It's happened to all of us. It hurts. It'll happen to you more than once. You have to know that and accept it, and know which you have to know which advice, which criticism is useful and which criticism is not, and that takes time to determine. And then don't quit. I mean, if you really love it, like you have to be crazy to want to do music for a living. It's it's not it's not remotely easy, but it's satisfying. And like Stanley, you telling me that chameleon skin speaks to you, I'm gonna like those endorphins are gonna like carry me for months. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be having a really bad day sometime in the next 2 or 3 months,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna be frustrated, and I'm gonna remember that song speaks to you, and that'll keep me going that day. That like that, yeah, I really appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you, Mike. Again, thank you for everything so far. And I feel like we're in the beginning stages of our relationship and what's
Oh
to
yeah,
it's about to get really fun, really fast, I think. And for the listener, take heed Mike's advice, especially the part about the criticism, I think that's very important for all people in the music industry. No matter where you're at, people will crap on you at some point, at multiple points, I should say, but it'll get easier over time because of how you build that thick skin. And we can go on a whole podcast episode on how you build that thick skin, honestly. But part two will be on Mike's podcast, and I'll be in the hot chair. But thank you so much, Mike, for sharing your story, sharing your experiences. The music industry is better off because of it. The recording industry is better off because of it. And continue to make art, continue to make albums. I'm excited for the upcoming music, but there's a lot of music that Mike has already made, and I'm going to share some of Mike's contact, like websites and social media below, so you could check that out there. And we'll see you guys soon.